Work the scam new. Work the scam new. Work the scam new.
And here he is
If we
talking.
could get jobs back instead of having them going to India and having them go.
And here he is. Gee whiz, you think he'd stop ringing my front doorbell? God. Thank you. Gee whiz. It's probably Mormons or something. Okay, so some more on Trump. Here's Trump on the campaign trail. This is one of the reasons why he won. He was actually very congruent on the campaign trail.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And here he says, America, wake up.
America, wake up. America, wake up.
You hear that? And he was the only politician in all of the last election that used the word America in their reversals. And he used it time and time and time again. Here he is again on the campaign trail.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't notice Swedish people knocking down the World Trade Center. This certainly is. And I came out very strongly against the mosque being built virtually across the street.
And so did I. You and I were on the same page. Okay.
And here he says, America now.
You
got that? This is one of the reasons why he won, because his reversals were very pro-America. He must have used the word America time and time and time again. America's winning. Here's a great one that really shows the principle of what I call complementarity, with the forwards and the reverse relate to each other. This is Donald Trump talking about Hillary Clinton's emails.
The Democratic Party.
Oops, sorry. Okay, now we'll do it.
When he gave up that email thing, he said, "Here, Hillary." And you know what? That was orchestrated by the Democratic Party.
Okay, so he says Hillary and email, okay? And backwards, he says, Hillary, let's see this email.
Hillary, this is... Hillary, this is...
So what are the odds of that? Of Hillary and email appearing in forwards and Hillary and email appearing in the reverse? And he's saying, Hillary, let's see this email, which is what all the big controversy was about back in 2016 anyway. So I think it takes far greater faith to believe this is not real than it is. I have got 35 years of research backed up behind me to validate this. I have literally got hundreds of thousands of reversals, probably over 1 million on my desk, on my computer. Yes?
Have you analyzed any of the State of the Union speech yet, where he's telling some obvious lies? I think
Right. Yeah, no, I'm going to do that when I get back home. Yeah, no, I haven't. Well, I haven't had time because I've been here. So, but when I get home, I'll be doing the State of the Union. Yes?
Do certain forward words consistently say the same thing backwards?
Yes, they do. Yeah. Yeah, there's about 50 words that I've documented so far that I call them constant reversals. They always say the same thing backwards. Relationship always says this is shallow. Emotion says show me. President says we deserve this. So the coincidental connections are really quite fascinating in and of themselves. I tell my students not to document coincidental reversals, okay, because what we call constant sounds, not to document them. So, so there's about 50, yes. Here's Trump talking about Obama.
Come on, we'll sign a couple of things.
Oh, not much, sorry. He just says, and he's a fucking asshole.
He's a fucking asshole. He's a fucking asshole.
There we go. Funny one. Okay, let me play one more on Trump, and then we'll go a little bit deeper. Trump. Which one am I looking for? I am looking for, where is it? This one here. Okay, one of Trump's campaign promises was that was that he would build the border wall and Mexico would pay for it. Okay, so here he is talking about Mexico paying for the wall.
What's the difference? I want to get the wall started. I don't want to wait a year and a half until I make my deal with Mexico. So, and we probably will have a deal sooner than that. And by the way, Mexico has been so nice.
And there he says they will not deal with us.
We will deal with us.
Okay. Yes.
So would you say that what we hear in reverse is what we want to say, but we don't say it, and we say what just to cover?
I don't understand the question.
What we hear in reverse is what we really want to say.
Yes. Yes.
We say that open politeness in a different way.
Oh, well, you're not aware you're saying it. No, it's automatically embedded backwards. Yeah. Right. Sometimes they can be thoughts that you're aware of having at the time, but many times they're unconscious thoughts that you are not aware of having. Yes.
Is there any difference in analyzing speech that's recorded during, say, hypnosis, where someone's presumably speaking from their...
Oh, good question. Yeah, you'll get a lot more reversals and a lot clearer with someone under hypnosis. Reverse speech is coming from the right brain. Forward speech is left brain, reverse speech is right. So the more right brain activity in your speech, like emotions or a casual conversation, you'll get a lot more reversals. Yeah, and hypnosis is incredibly clear. So, yes.
How does this map onto foreign languages? Have you worked with anybody else who's analyzed?
I work with French. Well, I only speak one language. I've had analysts work with French, Spanish and German. They're founded in both languages. I'm going to get on to metaphors in a second. They've found the metaphors are the same. We're finding the same metaphors in German, for example, as we're finding in English, which is really quite fascinating. So. Yes, it is. I know, that's fascinating. That's a whole lot of area of research is other languages, you know. We haven't done much. Well, we've got a whole lot more to do. Okay. Let me just play one other funny reversal, then I'm going to move into what I think is the real important thing of this. Where am I looking for? Oh, yeah. Okay. This is an evangelist preaching a sermon.
Great things for him, and I can do great things today. My friend, it just narrows itself down what he said to Simon Peter by the Sea of Galilee, lovest thou me?
And he says, my advice is rancid.
My advice is rancid. My advice is rancid. My advice is rancid.
Not someone you want to go to for counselling. Not in the least. Yes, sir.
Have you ever listened to any great speakers or spiritual leaders like, Martin Luther King Jr. or Gandhi?
Sure, Martin Luther King is wonderful reversals. Yeah, Martin Luther King, beautiful. Yeah, real powerful. Actually, I'll see if I can pull one up on him real quick. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking evangelists. Not all of them are bad, but a lot of them are. Where's my Martin Luther King reversals? Hang on 1 second. MLK. Here we go. Here's Martin Luther King.
To speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands.
He says, the Lord, he does believe.
The Lord, he is not believe. The Lord, he is not believe.
Well, God believes in us. Okay? So, yeah, it's a nice, positive message. So, yeah. Okay. So, applications of reverse speech. There are many, many applications. In point of fact, it's the question I get I'm most puzzled about is when people say to me, well, this is all very well and good, but what can you do with it? There are so many things you can do with it. I use it in therapy. I'm going to cover therapy a fair bit. But before I do that, I am going to briefly look at its applications in law enforcement. I worked with the police department in Dallas for several months until I found a reversal on the interviewing offers that said last week I bought snow, and that's the last time they used me. So here's Patsy Ramsey, the mother of John Benet Ramsey, the little beauty queen who was murdered in 96. Okay, she's saying there's at least 2 people out there who knows who committed this crime.
We feel like there are at least 2 people on the face of this earth that know who did this. And that is the killer and someone that person may have confided in.
And she tells us who that person is. Okay? Listen carefully.
I'm that person.
I'm that person. There you go. And here we have another one. Oops. Hang on 1 second. I've just lost it. Hang on. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a pretty damning reversal. And here she is commenting on reports they got that it was someone in the family who did it. And she says, I don't think I've met anyone who could be this vicious.
I can't believe that we have ever knowingly met anyone that can be this vicious.
Backwards, she tells us who is that vicious. Listen carefully.
I'm the only one.
I'm the only one. I'm the only one. I'm the only one. Okay? And how did she kill how did she kill John Benet?
Your Honor, it was the day after Christmas, and we were going to go visiting.
I struck her head.
No, next percent.
You got that? So, law enforcement, amazing applications. One case I worked on in the Australian police, they were looking for a murder weapon. Reversal said it was hidden in the cellar of the house. They got a search warrant and found it in the cellar of the house, exactly where the reversal said it would be. Here's Scott Peterson, who currently sitting on death row in California for murdering his wife. Here he is before the trial being asked, did you murder your wife?
Did you murder your wife?
No. I just thought.
Backwards he says, neck I hit hard.
Neck I hit hard. Neck I hit hard.
When they found her body, she was decapitated, and they never found the head. So as he's denying the crime in his mind, he flashes back and remembers, neck I hit hard. Amazing, incredibly powerful technology. All right, let's look at it in therapy. We're going to change tactics here. I use reverse speech mainly in the therapeutic context. It's probably 90% of my income is in my therapeutic practice. I work over the phone. Most of my clients are in the United States. And reverse speech will tell us some amazing things about ourselves. I'll start off with this one. One of the things reverse speech tells me in therapy is that we all create our own problems. We create our own reality. The more you blame other people for it and don't take responsibility, the more problems you're going to have. Here's a young man talking about his relationship. Where do you see the future of you and Sarah?
I think that's something that changes a lot, but it's also, I think, become somewhat of a day-to-day thing with us.
And here he says, but I must muck it.
But I must muck it. But I must muck it.
You got that?
But I must muck it.
In other words, I must mess it up.
Where do you see the future of you and Sarah?
Sorry, I don't know why this is playing all the time again. Yes, sir. Very important. Yeah. We have our own software that we've developed ourselves. It's Reverse Speech Pro. It's totally designed for reverse speech. Yeah. Oh, I'm slowing it down. Yeah, I'm slowing the speed down to make it easier to hear. Yeah. So, was there a question back there? No. Okay. Here's a very controversial reversal. This is a woman who. This is an Australian woman who was in a very abusive relationship.
And I was just really surprised where that came from, and that I even allowed him to even get back into my head like that. I was shocked.
Okay, I was shocked that I allowed him to get back into my head. But backwards, she says, make him abuse me.
Make him abuse me. Make him abuse me.
You hear that?
Make him abuse me.
She was obviously denied that reversal. There's no way I make him abuse me. But reverse speech says that we create our own reality. Everything that happens to us is because at some level we want it to happen. Let me play you another one that gives a similar example to that. Yeah, here's one here. Okay.
Fear of doing it on my own, although there's another part of me that likes to do it on my own.
And here she says, I am wanting you grief.
Oh, I am wanting you grief.
Oh, I am wanting you grief. Oh, I am wanting you grief.
So why would anyone want to have grief in their life? At some stage, this woman has got a lesson, probably back in childhood. I find that 80% of all my clients' issues go back to childhood. It's so important. I mean, our childhood is just absolutely crucial. Some of it comes from childhood. Some of it is passed down from generation to generation. Reverse speech calls them curses. And many times I am doing work in MetaWalk, which I'll display in a sec. Here's another one. Yeah, look at this one.
Have you heard of Zero Limits, the book on Zero Limits? Oh, it's supposed to be a real good healing book.
This one says, send the worries, love.
And the worries, love. And the worries, love. And the worries, love.
I'd say that's probably one of... So he's looking for worries. I'd say that's probably been one of... Well, there's been many revelations I made working in therapy, but one of the biggest ones is that we create our own world. Is that the world in which you live is because we have created it that way. If you're in poverty, it's because at some level you've created it. If you have a series of bad relationships, it's because you're creating it. And so a lot of the work I do with clients is to unravel those patterns that they have built up over the years, you know. I actually love working with clients. It's such a rewarding thing to see all these clients change. Here's a woman we'll start to get into metaphors a little bit. Here's a woman who's talking about making money.
It's going to kick off quickly. We'll have some bugs to work out, but then after that, it's going to really catapult.
Okay, so she's talking about her business is going to really catapult, but backwards she says, I go with slum.
I go with slum. I go with slum. I go with slum.
Do you all hear that? Slum, S-L-U-M, as in the slums of the city. So I'll do it again.
I go with slum.
You hear that now?
I go with slum. I go with slum.
Okay, slum is a common metaphor in reverse speech. It's for poverty, lack of success. Okay? So while she's saying this business is going to be a great success, the reversals come out and says exactly the opposite. Okay? And I can see all of these things in reverse speech. Yes. Oh, very good question. Very good question. I do a lot of work with clients on spiritual issues. I'd say probably 40% of my clients are for spiritual issues. You've really got to find out what the block is, what's holding you back from it. That's the first thing. There's always something, and it's usually a negative emotion. It's anger, jealousy, grief, whatever. But it varies from person to person. Everyone's different. And I'm often asked for common metaphors I can give, and I can't because everyone's different. The only way I know of is to record yourself and see what you find and run it in reverse, And if you are really interested in this, come to my booth afterwards and we'll sign you up and you can take session work and change your whole life. Reverse speech will many times pinpoint the precise event or series of events that cause the problem. Here's a woman who had a series of broken relationships, and she's talking about them.
I even marked it on the calendar when it shifted. It was the night that it happened. My friend Cheryl was just telling me about how, what we believe, we then create, and it just shifted, and that's when I just...
And here she says, I've been molested.
I've been molested.
I've been molested. I've been molested.
She hadn't told anyone. She broke down in tears when I played her the reversal. She'd been molested constantly and frequently by her brother for many, many years. Hadn't told anyone. She wasn't going to tell me either. And reverse speech was able to pinpoint the precise reason for her issues, which means that I can now work on a cure. And reverse speech will do this many times, pinpoint the precise reasons for an issue. For example, here's a woman who I'm asking her, can you think of an event that caused this? And she says, no, I can't think of anything, David. So here we go.
So there's no cause or event in your life you can say this is what's causing that, or thoughts that run through your mind.
I don't have a specific pattern of thought, David, behind that. It's more a feeling, and a visual image of it. I don't quite get a relevance or a connection with, when I was whatever age this happened and without thoughts.
Okay, so she's saying, I can't think of an event, but we've got a reversal that said the bad orphan.
Without thoughts.
Without thoughts. Without thoughts.
You hear that? I played that to her and she goes, oh my God. Oh, it was like the lights went off. When she was 13, 14, anyway, early teens. Mum and Dad had a huge big fight. She walked into the room and broke up the fight. Dad got furious, put her and sent her out of the room. Next day, Dad dies of a heart attack. She blamed herself for her father's death for breaking up the fight with her mother, the bad orphan. I'm now an orphan and I'm a bad orphan. So even though she could not remember an event, the reversal pinpointed the exact event that caused the problem. And I see this, I'll get this every tape. It will pinpoint exactly what has caused the problem. And the amazing thing is, it will tell us the solutions. We'll get into that in a sec. Yes? Right. Okay. Let's move on to that right now. Okay. All right. I have developed an entire therapeutic process through reverse speech. It's taken me 20 years to develop it. It's been pretty well perfected for the last 10 years now. First of all, I will record my clients and find out what the problem is. We'll record for 30 minutes. I will then go and report the results back to the clients, and they I then do another session where I ask the client, how do I fix it? What do I do to change it? And normally the answers will come in metaphor. Okay, for example, let me, here's one here. This is the second session, which I call a pre-trial. Okay, so we've got the first session, which is talk about the problem. Second session goes over the results. Third session talks about the solutions. And the solutions come out in metaphor. So here's a man who had business problems, and this is the second session where I'm asking him, how do we fix this? And he's saying to me, well, maybe I should make some new pamphlets up.
I guess there's those two things. I don't know how much information yet to put in the pamphlet and whether to have some information pack to send to them. There's two ways I could go. It depends what this looks like, whether that's sufficient or whether there's too much for that.
Okay, now the answer comes in metaphor. I'll play the metaphor, then I'll tell you what it all means. It says, see the whirlwind to shift this devil out.
See the whirlwind to shift this devil out. See the whirlwind to shift this devil out.
You hear that one?
See the whirlwind to shift this devil out.
Okay, whirlwind. Okay, let me, I haven't even touched on metaphors yet. 70 to 80% of all the language in reverse speech is metaphor, using words like wolf, Lancelot, goddess, whirlwind, devil. A devil in reverse speech is negative, traumatic emotions, okay, that are holding you down. That's how I interpret devil. Whirlwind is our own aura or our own energy field. This reversal says, see the whirlwind to shift the devil out. I have developed a hypnotic technique which I call a meta-walk. It's a combination of two words, metaphor and walkabout. And the walkabout, of course, is the Australian Aboriginals' spiritual pilgrimage into the outback. And the meta-walk is a spiritual journey through the metaphors of the unconscious. So with this man here, I would have him see a devil in a room or in a field and literally have a whirlwind come along and take that away. See, healing the unconscious is not done in English, it's done in metaphor. The unconscious thinks in metaphor, it thinks in pictures. You can talk till you're blue in the face and you're never going to change it without changing the metaphors. So it's the metaphors that I work with. Let me find a diagnosis. Let me find a metaphor that's a bad one. And then we'll look at the solution. Metaphor. Where are we? Okay. I'm trying to find a bad one. I've got all good ones here. This is no good. Well, I'll be bothered. Gee, I better go and get some more negative metaphors in my thing here. Okay, here's one here. All right.
Maybe do you feel that you're meant to be, financially stable, or that you should be walking a different path?
Okay, this is a client. This is one of my students talking to a client who's had money problems, and the reversal says, "Eve is damaged, then I feed your Eden."
Eve is damaged, then I feed your Eden. Eve is damaged, then I feed your Eden.
Do you hear that?
Eve is damaged, then I feed your Eden.
Am I getting too over the top here? Am I getting too deep? No. Okay. So this is telling me that the metaphor Eve, which is a very common metaphor, is damaged. Okay, and Eden needs to be fed, probably watered, nurtured. So in a meta walk, I would take the person to the Garden of Eden. It's a very common metaphorical image. I do that